Hello everyone, this is the guy that was super excited for Soren, but turns out he's a little bit disappointing, at least in the first few days of testing, and welcome to this AFK journey video. So yeah, I have to admit, I was one of those guys that hyped up Soren. I honestly thought that his skill kit looks amazing, and in my mind I was projecting him to be a AoE stunner, a warlocker, or a berserker type of rogue or character based on the dust rejuvenation, but turns out he's none of those. And I could safely say that at least in the first few days of testing, this unit is probably even worse than his sister Elsa, unfortunately, which is kind of contradicting because in the lore itself he's actually stronger. But then again, right, this video as title is do not sleep on him yet. So I'm going to showcase a few arena runs with him and then talk about what are his issues, or what's the issues that's plaguing this character, at least based on my first few days of testing, and then talk about why there's actually a feature which we haven't unlocked yet, and with the progressive improvement of that feature on this unit, could make the unit see more use, could make the unit a lot stronger. So without further ado, I'm going to use my Supreme Arena runs on this account to showcase to you guys. So I did two runs, both against another opponent with Soren. So the very first team idea for me was I'm trying to use Iron to group everyone together. So Soren will use the ultimate and teleport to the area with the most people and then hit everyone from there. So that's the idea of this team, supported by the 2 sustain. And then the enemy had I'll say like a positioning error. So I decided to use Rainer to send Iron in. So you guys can see sending Iron in, and then Soren is just down there hitting Shakir at the side. Okay, enemies rushing, enemies also running Soren over there with Cascade spell. Okay, so here he runs to the area of the most enemy. So usually when Iron starts the battle, he will group everyone together. So this effect will be maximized if we have an Iron, right? So that's really good. That's my initial idea right there. But you guys can see, right, when he used the ultimate, it wasn't doing that much. The opponent Soren also jumped in and used the ultimate, and I think the opponent Soren did a better job because the opponent Soren managed to stun my Heroine before she got her ultimate off, and that's where I was actually sniped off by Skalita's insta-kill ability, even though my Heroine got the ultimate off. Unfortunately, my Soren died there. So there's actually 2 issues from this battle. Number 1, the ultimate casting is a little bit too slow. Feels like the ultimate is very morale level type of ultimate in a sense. It's good, it's powerful if you manage to get it through, but it's a little bit too slow. So he would be better off with a little bit more energy regen, would be better off with a little bit of discount on the ultimate energy cost, and that will definitely make him a little bit better. So that's for issue number 1. Issue number 2, right, from this replay itself, is that this unit's I'll say like idea is a lot of AoE. It's a lot relying on the 3rd skill, right, to proc the 2nd skill to do more damage. So the 3rd skill is one which he deflects the damage and then reset the cooldown of repelling sweep, which is, I'll say, a key source of the ultimate, because this repelling sweep swings his weapon to do damage, right, knock them back, and then if they collide, he stuns and do more damage, so on and so forth. So it aligns with the theme of him wanting to push enemies to the edge of the wall and then stun them from there. So, but based on what I observed so far, his 2nd skill is not proccing as much, and his 2nd skill is, I'll say, not very impactful if you have no way to sort of force the enemy closer to the wall, because his ultimate is the one that pushes people back a lot, but the ultimate comes a little bit too slow. The 2nd skill is very reliable in pushing people back, it's very reliable on spamming because of the 3rd skill, but it's a little bit too slow. So you guys can hear the theme. The theme is he's a little bit too slow, and that's why this battle showcases both their issues. And yes, he does have an increase in haste, but that's when he's a little bit low HP. So you kind of want to do as much as possible before he activates this, so that by the time you activate this, what you got to do is clean house with this unit. But fortunately, it's not the case, at least for now, and that's why this unit feels a little bit lackluster. At the same time, if you take a look at this unit's EX weapon skill, right, the EX weapon skill does increase the tower range of the 2nd repel sweep, the 2nd skill, but at the same time, I feel that, okay, I feel that when you design this unit based on this ability, the values being split between the second and third skill, it's not really maximizing the skill ability in a sense. Like they could easily just make this increase the knockback distance of repelling sweep to 2 tiles and then decreasing the duration, right? Decreasing the cooldown of this skill. And that would have definitely made the skill better. But instead it became an increased knockback distance and then increase in 50% of the block damage from the third skill itself. So it's a little bit spread of resources, which sort of weakens the unit in terms of speed, in terms of what the unit wants to do. So the next video or the next footage, or rather this battle, showcases another problem with this unit. So this is over here, the opponent Soren did 0 damage and just died. You guys will see and you guys will laugh about it, but let's start, okay? So right here, we have everything the same, but you see the Soren runs up, gets stunned by Iron, gets rooted by Iron, gets stunned by Elsa, and then boom, there he goes. So yeah, this is quite common because, I mean, by nature, this is still a rogue character. So yes, he does have rejuvenation, and yes, this unit has some way to deflect damage, but this unit is not exactly the tankiest unit, right? This unit still dies pretty easily. It's still pretty weak to control, similar to Seth. And in fact, I can say that Soren actually, I'll say, like, is in a very similar to Seth, in a very similar role to Seth, in a sense. Both of them wants to do a lot of damage, wants to be the carry, but both of them are really weak to control, and their personal stat is not very strong. They have life drain, they have like a way to cut down damage. There's a way for them to be inbound in Seth's case, but at the same time, even though they have all these different things, they're very frail. So you need Coco for that, but his ultimate, like I mentioned earlier, was not that impactful, was a little bit too slow, and the other part of his kit feels very lackluster, which is why his survival becomes another problem, because his survivor relies a lot on the third skill, which is deflecting strike, and the cooldown of 6 seconds is not very long, but at the same time it's insufficient to keep him alive for a little bit longer, right? For Coco's ultimate to come in, or for more heals to go on your Soren so that he survives. So survival is still an issue, at least in the first few days of testing. So why am I still trying to cook this unit, right? Why am I still trying to tell you guys that don't sleep on this unit yet? That's because, right, I think by the time we are unlocking all the different stuff of this unit, right, most people who have unlocked Soren probably hasn't unlocked the magical charm ability. And magical charm plays a very important role of changing how a unit might function. Yes, it's just additional stats. Yes, it gives a little bit of stat bonus, and some people might argue that magical charm is not going to be impactful for some units at all. But for me, I feel that Soren is a very skill-reliant unit, and the addition of some of the magical charm stats, as well as the rogue stat bonus ability, is going to be very impactful for him. So let's talk about it. For his class, he's a rogue character, so this is his set ability, which allows him to get 100 energy for each kill or assist of an enemy hero. So other than the energy regen, he gets increased damage, he gets a shield which absorbs damage as well for the very first assist or kill. So with this set weapon, it gives him a clearer direction of who he wants to be, which is a full assassin type of character. You want to get off the kill and assist as fast as possible, so you get the energy going, gets more damage, gets a shield to keep him alive. And when you combine that with the fact that he already has some defensive mechanism in his kit, he could actually steamroll from just sniping off the target, right? Once he starts sniping off, he gains all these good stats, and then he starts to perform all his AoE damage magic. So that is one reason why we shouldn't sleep on him yet. The other reason is the stats that you can get from the magical charm side of things. So that is because if you take a look at his skill, number 1, ultimate power increases his ultimate attack damage, making the ultimate a little bit more impactful. I don't think 10 and 20% is very big, but it's 10% of the first part of the skill and then 20% of the second part of the skill. So if you combine it together, it's actually a 30% increase, and it's on each ultimate power. So if you're able to stack 3 ultimate power, that's 30, type 3, which is 90%, which is quite big in terms of just numbers itself. And then the other skills such as repel sweep also benefits from the skill power portion. So you guys can see, right, his skill actually benefits a lot from the skill power and ultimate power addition. And more importantly, deflecting swing, which is the survivor part of his skill, right, gets decreased cooldown with the addition of more skill power. So you can equip 3 charms to your character, meaning effectively you can get 3 skill powers from the charm, which means you can lower the cooldown reduction to 3 seconds. And that's where a 50% reduction in this skill might actually make him more tanky, makes him more survivable. So that's one thing that we shouldn't look down on. So if you take a look at the different magic charms ability, for Soren's case, I would say he's probably one which wants to, I'll say, rely on skill power, and the recommendation based on the game itself is one of attack percentage and one of skill power, which I kind of agree, right? I think ultimate power is not something that's going to be very impactful for him, but skill power is going to be, because I feel he's more second and third skill reliant, and with additional HP, he's going to be tankier. He can actually survive long enough to do what he wants, right? With additional attack, he's able to snipe better and become the sniper assassin role that I mentioned just now when you combine it with the magical charm ability. So that's why we really shouldn't sleep on him yet, because you guys can see skill power is highly recommended, because this is really in line with his second and third skill, which are very important for him. So at least from my personal feeling right now, right, this unit just feels a little bit off the mark. But I feel this could just be the things that he needs to make him meta or even strong. So we shouldn't sleep on him yet. We should wait until people start unlocking the magical charm set to see the true power of Soren. But without a doubt, I think at least before you get the magical charm, I think this unit is pretty disappointing. And before you guys move on and talk about, this guy is still selling this unit. No, I'm not selling this unit, because I do try to use him in different team setups, and I think that he's just missing a little bit of something, and this could be that little bit of something that could make him a lot better. But for those of you guys who are not sure whether or not to pour your resources into him, don't bother yet, right? Save up, wait for my later collection for the charm set, wait for my how worthy video before you guys decide whether or not you guys want to dump all your gems or all your pool tickets on him. Okay, so that's just me telling you guys to not sleep on him yet. I don't think he's Walker tier, because Walker is just way worse. I think Walker has a lot of things that make Walker a bad unit. That's why he has a separate tier on his own. But Soren, he's still okay, right? He still does what he wants to do if he does get there. It's just it feels a little bit lacking in one way or another, which could be rectified with the magical charm ability. So we shall see. We shall wait and see whether or not what I mentioned is the real thing. And thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe in order to see more AFK journey videos from the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.